Welcome to WtFun podcast with Kimmy,
Kisa,
and Renee.
Glad you can join us as we explore all aspects of entertainment and current events with industry professionals, friends, and us. Welcome. All right, friends, here we are, episode 12, the last episode of our first season and our very first podcast show. Yay!
Yay!
Well, I can't believe that we've completed 12 episodes in how many months? May is when we started.
May
Yeah.
is when we started our first
May,
episode.
June,
Didn't our first episode come out in the beginning of May? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I remember.
No, it was in the middle of May, I think.
I think we were late because we were behind.
That is true. That is true. I think Renee is right. I think we did start the second week. But it's so cool how we just started to pick up speed because remember having to research how to even start a podcast show and going through all that, online researching.
I mean, we've said it, but literally Google is our best friend.
Yes,
I was gonna say
Because
that was it.
without Google and YouTube, what would we do? We would be lost.
My relationship with the Google and the YouTube solidified during this process for sure.
Thank God.
I knew they were there, but I just didn't know how close friends we were going to become.
We are BFFs.
Yep. So thankful for technology to allow us to be able to instantly research these things.
Yeah. But also our friends, though. Our friends have helped us out a lot.
So much.
Immensely, yes.
We would also be lost. We don't know anything.
Not only have they been good people resources to help us along, but also they were resources that we used to interview because many of the people we've interviewed have family or friends,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Which again, didn't know that our network was so deep. And we know so many talented individuals. So
Yeah. We did it.
We did, and I had so much fun meeting all of these amazingly talented folks.
Yeah.
So many wonderful, talented people joining us, sharing their line of work, their insights, their journey, everything in between to their successes, where they're at today. It's really, really inspiring, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from some of our guests, especially with Aurelie and Laura a couple episodes back with the hustle. I tend to use the word hustle a lot, when it comes to just figuring out things in life. Well, what is my hustle? How am I going to achieve that? Well,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the perfect phrase to describe not just entertainment, but, just in general, working professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I would talk to student groups and they would ask me about my career, I would just be like, you better get ready to work. It's no cakewalk. So, you have to hustle. You have to be out there. And I think that's what I like the most. And I think Tiffany Keys, said it so well, and just having to, put herself out there and take the risk and start her business. And she is working. That girl is busy.
Yes.
And it's great, so I love that.
Renee, do you have a special segment here?
It's your turn.
I think Renee's favorite one would have been I think with Simon Curtis.
I was gonna yes.
Come on. Kimmy knows.
What part of that?
Everything. That whole episode. I mean,
It was really good.
To give yourself permission.
Mm-hmm.
That's another phrase that will resonate.
Yeah. I think that definitely resonated with me. You're right. You know me so well.
It's like we meet every day or something.
It's like we meet every day. But yeah, it's definitely that episode, there's just so many tidbits that just resonated with me, from giving yourself permission to take that step, to do that thing that you're afraid of, to looking at things as not a competition all the time, but like an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, someone's doing better than you. That's not bad thing. That's a good thing. That's like an aspiring thing, and putting jealousy and all of that aside. So
Right.
it all just made sense. And I think we cried and laughed a lot during that episode, but we've laughed and cried during a lot of episodes. So
I think laughing and crying during the Filet-O-Fish.
oh my God.
I have never laughed so hard. I still don't understand the Filet-O-Fish.
And you still haven't had the Filet-O-Fish, have you?
No, and I will never, because I don't like fish and I don't eat gluten. So it's like,
She will never. But that doesn't mean you can't like appreciate its look and like pet
The
it and take a
aesthetics.
picture with it and be
Yeah,
like, you're the most beautiful bun ever.
And then you can give the Filet-O-Fish to Sean afterwards.
he also
He
doesn't eat gluten.
Jeez, what is this world coming to?
He's a gluten-free household.
We're gonna have to just go to McDonald's Corporation and just ask them to create gluten-free buns that still have the consistency, softness, and
Oh my God.
like the Filet-O-Fish.
What would that be though? Like that's not even real food at that point. Like, what
No,
is-
that would be real food. Like that's
Oh,
the
that
thing.
would
is
be
that,
real food.
that would be the real food. And then the current Filet-O-Fish is not real food.
Oh my God.
It's not real McDonald's food.
That's not real McDonald's food because it is real food. That's the thing.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
That's too funny. One of the things that we had talked about a lot frequently in our episodes was my lack of showering. And I am pleased to share with everyone that I have increased my shower intakes and shower basically 5 days a week.
Yes.
Nice.
But remember how I talked about Pringles being an
Yes.
obsession one day? Yeah, well, I unfortunately reverted back to that. I've been having this snack attack lately and have been indulging on the Pringles.
Oh, the snack
That's
attack.
not good.
No, I literally, I feel like I snack all the time. Like when I would go to work, my lunch wouldn't even be like a meal. It would just be like 6 different snacks.
Yes. Yes. Those little Parmesan crispy thingies. Those are my favorite. But yeah, you would come
Those
out
are
like you would have like a
so
little
good.
container that was like a quarter size, and then you're eating out of that, and then another little container.
I just have snacks. I love snacking. I snack on all sorts of stuff. Chips are my favorite. I love chips. I could eat chips every single day.
What kind of chips? Potatoes.
Oh yeah, potato chips. My favorite flavor is barbecue. Any kind of barbecue chips, I will eat them. Doesn't matter.
My favorite type of potato chip are the kettle potato chips that are like extra crunchy with
Yeah,
the
those
salt
are
and
good.
vinegar. Salt and
Oh,
vinegar
no.
kettle potato chips. But then you dip them in cream cheese. Oh, so good. The cream cheese
Wow.
tends to neutralize the vinegar. So you should try it.
Wow.
I love the Lays. Anything that has like Frito-Lay, Dorito-Lay. Anything. Any kind of Chips-O-Lay.
Have you ever tried those obnoxious flavors like chicken and waffles Frito-Lay or not Frito-Lays? Wait.
Yes, because I think it was Kathy Cunningham would always come to work with a new bag. Like they have a new flavor and you'd have to try them. And I like the little Frito. I think those are my favorite. I think it's just Frito chili cheese, Frito twisties, Frito anything, and Doritos. Those are like. So it's been fun, ladies. It's been a good season 1. I'm excited about season 2.
Yes, me too. We've got a lot of great guests lined up.
I know.
But we won't tell you because, we want to keep it a surprise.
Just kidding. Yeah, we have good guests lined up for season 2. It'll be fun.
Yes. Already working on it. We have some other news that I'm sure we'll tell you about as soon as we make them concrete. So we also want to hear from our listeners in regards to any potential guests they would like to hear on the show. So if they're interested in a certain subject or they know of a person and they want to have them interviewed like Oprah someday, just let us know.
Yes, do it. Message us on Instagram, leave us a comment on Facebook, email us. We're around. So let's get to our last guest of season 1. 2 DJs, DJ ICY and DJ WtFun from the world famous Beat Junkies. We have them here.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We're so excited to have them join us. They are 2 busy DJs rocking the entertainment industry and the nightclub scene here in Southern California and Las Vegas. My gosh, their resume is so intensive, especially with DJ WtFun, since he does Vegas and does a lot of the lounges, all of the hotels, a lot of hotels out there. And then ICY travels the world and does a lot of does a lot of tours.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's just gonna take us back to the 90s when it all started. Okay, it's kind of started in the 80s, but that's a different story. They're from the 90s generation, so I'm excited. I'm excited for one. Well, ladies, let's go ahead and bring them in. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you to both of you because season 1 has been great and it's got us through a lot. And I don't want to cry, but I just want to let you know that I'm very grateful.
Oh, I know we did it. I can't believe that we pulled it off.
Yes, indeed. I love that the pandemic brought us together, but just this made us even more closer. So I'm very grateful to have both of you be a part of this amazing endeavor. I love it. Oh, I love you guys.
Yes, we're doing it.
All
right. Let's bring in our DJs.
Joining us today are 2 well-known DJs in the nightlife and radio industry. These 2 have quite the extensive resume. So without, going into all their extensive background, I want to quickly jump into bringing these amazingly talented music professionals onto our show. Isaiah Dacio, aka DJ ICY, and John Palma, aka DJ WtFun. Welcome to What the Fun podcast. Woo! Yay!
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
What the
Thank
fun?
you for joining us. What the? We're very excited to have you guys join us today. I'm reading your backgrounds and I'm just a little overwhelmed at just both of your accomplishments. DJ ICY, you've got quite the resume, being universal in the DJ spectrum. Well, first of all, you are a part of the original, you're an original member of the world famous Beat Junkies. In addition to that, you've also been an exclusive party DJ for big time celebrities such as Manny Pacquiao, Black Eyed Peas, Kanye West. You also partied with the Grammy Awards, American Music Awards, just to name a few, and then some. Out in the LA area, you radio on air with Power 106, and you've also DJ'd for 92.3 The Beat, 93.5 K-Day. I can't breathe anymore. Kiss FM 93.9 FM with Rick D's in the morning. I don't think I could survive being a DJ announcer. Oh my gosh. But that is quite the background. And then switching over to John WtFun Palma, he's got quite the residency in Las Vegas. I mean, here we go again. Take a deep breath in. He is a resident DJ for Caesar's Palace, the Link, Fremont Street Experience over at the Brass Lounge, House of Blues, Mandalay Bay, Foundation Room, Mandalay Bay, Venetian at the V Bar, Palazzo. Good heavens. And you've also DJ'd for big time clients such as Disney and Tom Shoes, and also for celebrities as well in private events. So, gentlemen, you guys don't have enough to do here. You guys need to do more work. What's going on here?
Hey, it's nothing but what the fun.
Yeah,
Hey.
exactly. It's all about fun. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's all in the name of fun.
Oh,
Well, welcome to our show. Welcome to our podcast. Let's jump into it. Let's hear about your background. Like, let's hear about what about DJing, what music, like, was it school? Was it playing an instrument? Why did you decide that you wanted to pick up DJing? What was that experience like for you?
Sure. Well, I mean, I was a young kid back in junior high, and I just wanted to get out of the house and have fun. You know, I see my friends going to these house parties, and you just want to be part of the cool crowd. And in order to get there, you had to pay your dues. So, in order to kind of start DJing, I had to be the guy carrying the records, the turntables, all that kind of stuff. And eventually I got there, and that's how it really started for me. Because I always had love for music. I mean, I played in a jazz band and orchestra before, so I mean, I had some way to continue on with DJing. So that's really how it started for me.
very cool. Very cool. Now, what about you, Isaiah?
Yeah, with me, I started at a very young age, so I wasn't even able to get out the house.
Yeah, I hear
But
you.
I just had this love for music, and when I heard the DJs playing on the radio for the very first time, it just caught my ear, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the whole scratching and them remixing a song and doing things with music, just kind of remixing on the spot. So those were my first things. But when I first went to my junior high dance and I saw the DJ performing, the lights shining, the girls and the guys dancing, and just people going crazy to certain songs and the power and the effect that the DJ had over the crowd, I was like, I had to become a DJ. That was my first exposure, and that was what made me want to become a DJ at first. But of course, being a junior high kid, you don't have the means, you don't have the money. You're at the mercy of what your parents will get you and all of that good stuff. So
Yeah.
I had to pay my dues like John, but in
Yeah.
other ways, doing chores and doing other things, working with my dad on the weekends
Yep.
to raise any kind of money to get one turntable.
At least you got one turntable. I got zero. I had to borrow somebody else's.
And so the funny thing was that we had to pool our equipment together because we were all too young. So one friend would save up for one turntable. I saved up for the other turntable, and then our other friend saved up for the mixer. And then we just kind of used our boom boxes as our speakers, and that's how we got to practice. But yeah, we bought our first set, and then we just kind of rotate to our friends' houses. And then we all buy records individually by not eating at lunch and saving that lunch money and going to the record store and buying one record for the week or something like that.
Oh,
And that's
man.
how we built our record collection. But it all started very, very innocently, but all for the love, and then we had to pay some dues big time to become DJs.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you say you just picked it up. You just started saving when you saw the light and you're like, I need to do this. You started saving money. You started following your friends around, whatever it was, to try to get into it and do it. And it was a very hands-on experience because nowadays you can go to YouTube, you can go to Google, and you can figure it out. How'd
Yes.
you guys like put that together? Was that what made it even more fun and more interesting and in the creative process?
I mean, I think so. Yeah, we didn't have YouTube back then. And so instead of watching a person do it on YouTube, we had to buy a physical record
Mhm.
and listen to that record and listen to what that DJ was doing. You tune into the radio and you listen to what the DJ was doing on the radio. And at that time, it wasn't, mix show DJs weren't even on FM. They were on AM. They were on
Yeah.
AM radio back at that time when we started. And we would listen to 1580 K-Day the K-Day Mix Masters and
Mhm.
listen to what they were doing. So it was a lot more listening and figuring it out and using our imagination versus watching someone play by play how to do it on YouTube.
Well, I think
Yeah.
you struck a chord there, Ice. I mean, the part of the experience that we went through was the part listening, right? And I think it's really one of the fundamentals, in my opinion, of DJing. Because I think it helps you create your own version of the music later in your own ways versus looking at a computer screen and not paying attention to the music. That's where I think those are the parts that are missing, the fundamentals. So
Yeah, we built our collections over time. We would save our lunch money and go to the record store to buy one record. Nowadays, a kid can go to another DJ and say, "Hey, let me download your whole library," and you instantly have it. But then you don't have the same appreciation for that one song or that one artist, or knowing who produced what and getting to know the record inside out versus downloading somebody's library and then having to figure that out. So I think there's a lot more appreciation, and it happened over time versus just something instant nowadays.
So when you went to mom and dad and were like, I want to be a DJ for my career, how did that go?
You are going to be a doctor. You're not going to be a DJ. What is that all about?
Yeah. I mean, no, for me, I didn't really tell them because they always thought that I was just going out gallivanting, right? That's what it is. They think that
Exactly.
I'm out there just partying and just being just crazy and not being responsible type of deal. So it's like, no, I just want to go out there and actually learn how to use this turntable, which is like the instrument that I was practicing on the radio, with my orchestra and jazz band. But that's all I wanted to do is just do that, buy records, and share music. But yeah, I didn't really tell them that I'm gonna go in a career, but I just say I like to play music. Oh, funny thing is, my dad liked to play music too because at family parties, he bring his little setup there. We had an 8-track and one of those
An
belt drive
8-track.
turntable.
You just did
Yeah,
it yourself.
yeah. Well, and my dad would play it at parties. I said, well, you do it too. So
I too learned a lot from my dad in terms of music. But yeah, in terms of your question, going back to making it a career, I didn't exactly say, "Hey, Dad, I want to become a DJ for my career." I just kind of gradually ingrained it into his head that obviously, you have Asian parents, Filipino parents, they want you to go to school. That's like number one thing in our culture. And they don't care what you do as long as you go to school. And so I went to school, but then like John, I partied a lot. I was at a party all the time. And but I think as I was going into college, I was starting to work in radio at the same time. So I first started college radio, and then my dad didn't really think anything of that. And then I made it onto like public radio. My dad didn't think anything of that. And then next thing you know, I make my break into 92.3 The Beat, which was the hot R&B hip hop station at the time. And my dad didn't really understand what that was all about. But when his coworkers were like, your son is ICY's, huh? Or you're the dad of ICY's. Then my dad was like, oh, you know my son? Yeah, I listen to him on the radio. And then my dad kind of like took notice. My mom, she was always just supportive, period, but yeah, my dad was the iron fist, what he said. So I always had to do things for his approval, but I think when I made it on radio and people started asking him if I was his son, that was a turning point.
When I think about DJs, I mean, you guys are are a different type of musicians because you truly need to hear that beat and know when to be able to integrate another different type of music into another one to create that remix. And so, if you can just explain really quick exactly what is turntablism for our viewers who are like, wait, what?
Ice could better answer that. He was part of that definition, right?
Because that definition I picked up from the Beat Junkies right there. So tell us about turntablism.
Okay, so we're talking about DJing in general, and so a lot of people that aren't really hip to what DJing is, they just think of a person talking on the radio or an announcer.
A disc jockey,
so
yeah.
a disc jockey, that's what exactly it derives from, is disc jockey, playing record discs. But yes, those are on-air personalities that are talking, and then the DJ is the actual person that takes two records and mixes them flawlessly into one another, keeping a perfect beat and keeping a perfect mix going. Now, turntablism takes it a step further. And so turntablism is more like the musician, or like the art form, the true art form of DJing. And so that's where you get into more of the technical skill. So not that you're just mixing two records together and keeping a perfect mix, but you're actually cutting, you're scratching, you're blending an acapella over a different beat, or you're just doing things in a way more creative fashion in terms of mixing. So then that's where you're a turntablist, because just like you're a pianist or guitarist, a turntablist is more into the art form and the musicality of being a DJ.
I like that. I should took notes on that one.
Yeah. And that fundamental skill set, it just helps elevate you as a DJ, I would feel, like you have that foundation, and then now you can add on with using your computer and using all of these other technical things that are now out there. So I think, that's really great to always have that foundation. So you guys are both part of the world famous Beat Junkies. Can you tell us a little bit about who they are and what they do?
So Beat Junkies is a group of friends, first and foremost. We all kind of derive from other DJ groups. We were all part of different DJ groups, but in the 90s, a lot of different things were just happening at the time, and a lot of different things, from car culture to gang culture to dance culture to just everything was pulling in different directions. And us as DJs, we felt like, man, let's form a crew that really aspires to the art form of DJing. And so then we have this crew that came together. J Rock and DJ Curse were the first two to formulate the whole idea, and then they pulled everybody together. And so me being one of the original members, I'm one of the very first members that were pulled in, prior to some of the others that are also in the group as well, but came in at a later time. And but yeah, ultimately the Beat Junkies is a super collective of DJs, and we really love the art form of DJing, but we also have our hands in all different forms of DJing.
That is awesome. Now, Double Play Palma. We've got the one side from radio station to being a part of a crew, and with ICY, but you've got the nightlife scene. You've got Vegas. I mean, Vegas is Sin City, and when we think of Vegas, it's casinos, it's slot machines, it's buffets, and it's also the nightlife. Tell us about spinning at clubs and lounges. What is that culture like? How's it for you as a DJ there?
Very dynamic. Is an understatement. I mean, of course. There's a lot of clubs that, not only just in Vegas, but I guess Vegas is a little more special, where a lot of people and celebrities come to play. and you'll see some of those sightings more frequent than some other spots. And the things that go on here may be a little more extreme to some folks. I mean, it's a 24-hour town, right? So you could be partying right up into when the sun comes up. So all kinds of adult related activities happen in Vegas. And I've seen quite a few that, I can't really share on this podcast, but you can almost imagine where, yeah, it's interesting to say the least, but it's fun nonetheless, just to experience some things like that.
So you guys mentioned before that DJs are now starting to use Twitch as a platform to do these online sets, and Twitch is usually used as a gamer's platform. Can you guys explain to us how how Twitch has grown in popularity during the pandemic, and why DJs decided to move over to that platform?
The reason we moved on to Twitch was because the original platforms, when this whole quarantine started, we were all stuck in our homes. And then D Nice was one of the very first to just start playing music for people and start DJing on a regular basis for people. And so he caught everybody's attention, and he got a lot of love and notoriety from it. And so every DJ and their mama kind of followed suit. Us, as our crew of Snapback, we decided as a crew to let's be there for our peoples. Let's make people feel good through the music, and let's play for them as well. So we kind of followed the same suit, and we originally started on Facebook and Instagram, and we tried YouTube as well. But all of those platforms, Instagram was the only one that was allowing us to play almost full sets. But then as the time went through, I think the music industry took notice, and then they were really hounding Instagram for not having those licenses for playing music. They're allowed to. They have the licenses for people to use 1-minute clips in their mini videos and their stories and things like that, but not do full 1-hour sets of DJ sets and things like that. So I think the music industry came down hard on Instagram and started putting their clamp on them. And then next thing you know, DJs were playing sets, and then second song into their set, we're getting cut off. And then you jump back in, 2 songs later, you're getting cut off again because you're playing something by Drake or something by Rihanna or something by Jay-Z. And it was a nightmare. And so the DJ community was looking around for other alternatives, and we noticed that gamers were playing games with music in their background all the time, and they would go hours and hours and hours without being cut off. And so one DJ figured it out, and then slowly and surely, the DJ community started trickling over to Twitch, and now I think we've bombarded Twitch so much that it's become a DJ platform as well as a gamers platform. And so now Twitch serves both DJs and gamers, and Twitch even made an official a music site just for DJs within the platform.
Where do you feel that, I mean, DJing has come a long way. Like, you've evolved into like doing major events. You work on radio stations. You're heard, concerts, there's Twitch, there's so many different mediums, but where do you feel it's going to in the future? Like, how is it evolving?
I think
in your
we're
mind's eye?
evolving right now as we speak, right, John? Do you
Yeah.
agree with this?
Definitely. I mean, especially, with the question of pandemic earlier, I mean, it's really caused us to adapt to the changing environment now. And I think it also helped DJs discover another revenue opportunity as well. Because, there is a way for DJs to make money on Twitch aside from just playing there. So I think we may see DJs adopt this method as part of their whole portfolio when they go out and do live performances. I think events like in lounges, bars. I'm not sure. I won't say clubs yet, Clubs is a different topic, but private events, those will continue. But I think DJs will also include, you know, um, internet-based type of performances as part of their portfolio.
So you guys mentioned before that because you guys started doing sets on Twitch, that you don't really have to play a lot of the top 40s like you would if you were in a club or a lounge. So what kind of music do you really enjoy playing?
I like playing different things because that's what Vegas taught me to do, is to be versatile, play different kinds of music. So once in a while, I'll play like what is called an open format set. That means you're just basically playing all different genres. And I like it because it's a challenge, trying to mix like a country into a hip hop. People would kind of shy away from something like that. But if you can make it sound musically different, then it's a win. So, you know, going back to your question, what is my favorite? It's hip hop and house, but I like to play everything else.
What generation of hip hop? Like hip hop has
That's
been
true.
Yeah, you know what?
the whole thing, the whole
Yeah, that's
That is
true.
a
the whole
good
boat.
question because the recent hip hop is been debated, right? Either you love it or you hate it.
I
It's
hate
one
it.
of
I hate it. I hate it. I
yeah,
hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I
that's the
can't.
thing.
It's so monotone. Ma, 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 ma. That's what it sounds like to me. There isn't really much to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the feedback I would hear. But when you play to like a newer lounge or club or even the high schools here, that is what gets them going. That's what animates them.
Those pool
And
parties. The
yeah,
pool
and
parties
even
too.
pool parties. And I figure like you know each generation kind of gets exposed to that sound of the time, right? And that's what makes them move. And for us, 80s and 90s is what we grew up. The synth sounds of the 80s, the 808 beats of the 90s, and even some of the grunge rock, even in the 90s too, right? You get exposed to that type of sound and style, and that's what we associate with the memory, and that's what we love. And
Yes.
when a new sound comes out in this generation, it's a bit foreign, and you won't accept it, especially if you're not in a situation where you're making memories to it. I prefer the uh, older generations only because there's more elements in the sound.
The musicality.
But
I don't think the
yeah,
musicality is
yeah,
there.
I agree, and I think um, some of the rappers' content isn't as great as what it was in the '90s. But I download music every week just to see what's new, and I have to listen to it, and I have to be open about it. And what I hear is, the same type of trap beat, the same words, the same, and it feel like it's recycled. And but there are some ones out there who are pretty creative, and that's the one I kind of latch on to. Um,
I mean,
you know,
yeah, I mean, like your Kendricks, your Corey
yeah,
Guns, your J.
yeah,
Cole's, like
yeah, those
they're
guys,
still very talented
yes,
MCs that are delivering in that style that we're talking about. But there's way more that are not than
Yeah.
there
yeah,
are.
Yeah, it's definitely that artistry because I know that for me, music, especially the language, the lyrics, if you know how to use them, if you're creative,
yes,
you're a poet. They're
exactly,
poets, and it gives you, right, the DJ, the more room to play. I don't know. I just feel like it works better. And now it's like every other word you have to like bleep out, or it's just it's not. It's so literal now that it's not as as romantic, quote unquote, as it used to be, if you think hip hop was romantic at
Yes.
all. But looking
Yeah.
back,
Yeah, no, the
yeah.
art form in its delivery and its expression, it's way different now as it was back then
Mm,
because people used to spread
yeah,
knowledge through the music. they would have a message through that music. They
That's
would
it.
express an art through that music.
Mm.
Nowadays, there's very few that have that same ability as compared to before. So I think that's one thing that is lacking with today's MCs.
So I don't remember if we talked about this, but I'm just gonna ask again. So
Okay.
tell us about snack. I'm hungry.
Snack back.
Snack back.
We have the coolest snacks.
We got chicharrones. We got, yes. Tell us about snapback.
Snapback. It came out of a time when EDM was just ruling the land in terms of the music landscape. And so, us as Snapback, we said, well, we want to do a club where we can play all the stuff that we grew up to, all the stuff that we love, all the 90s hip hop and the R&B and reggae and just the genres that you don't usually hear in these big Vegas clubs or Hollywood clubs.
Mhm.
And so we formed Snapback, and it started at small bars in Los Angeles and eventually made its way into North Hollywood, LA, Long Beach, and Vegas. And the whole premise of Snapback was to just play nothing but the classics, all the stuff that we love. And that's what we did. And Snapback's been around for 8 years. And unfortunately, our home base in Long Beach closed down due to COVID, like for definitely for good. But I'm sure once we get back to normalcy, we'll eventually find a new home for Long Beach as well. And we serve good snacks too.
Snack back.
Snack back.
So, which DJs really inspired you to continue DJing and pursue a career in DJing? And which ones kind of took you under their wing and showed you the ropes and influenced you?
That's an easy question for me, so I'm gonna go first. You're looking at him right now, Mr. ICY. Yes.
I didn't know that. Oh, thanks, John.
Yeah. No, but seriously, remember I think we discussed before. There was a period in time where I had a gap in my DJing career, where it was the 90s and up to the early 2K. My brother got me back into it because he just started playing with my equipment. He started booking us gigs. And I said, okay, so we started doing these things, and that's when I reconnected with ICIs at some point. And I think he gave me some music as well. And just trying to get back on my feet and trying to understand some of this, what's going on. And, so, I mean, there was a period of time where I wasn't, playing any songs for a good decade. So I had a lot of catching up to do. I mean, I heard it on the radio and all, but I haven't had an opportunity to play it in front of a crowd. You know what I mean? So that guy right there is probably the one who, got me into it more. So
Did you know that,
hug
IC?
right now.
Did you know
Give you
that?
a hug. Thanks, John. I didn't know that. No.
Yeah.
I knew we had good snacks, though. But no, I didn't know that, John. Thanks. For me, it goes back to listening to 1580 K-Day, the K-Day Mixmasters. They were my first inspirations, listening to them on air. My man Julio G was the one that gave me my break. So Julio G was an original K-Day Mixmaster. I had a chance encounter with Julio G, invited him out to one of our legend parties, and then he was just blown away by like seeing 1,500 Filipino and Asian kids rocking to some hip hop. And he's like, what? I've never known that this was a thing. And so when he got that time slot, he offered to bring me on as a guest, as well as a lot of our Beat Junkie brothers as well. And he gave me my break. My man, Curse of the Beat Junkies, he was one of my other mentors as well that just kind of like showed me the ropes. Rhythmatic, also Beat Junkie. Fast forward all the way to today, I see a lot of young kids inspire me. A lot of these DJs on Twitch inspire me. I just get a lot of inspiration just from just the love in the community and just everything that's going on through this whole Twitch platform right now. So it's a beautiful thing.
So as we wrap up this interview, what's your last little bits of words of wisdom for our listeners?
For me, keep music as a part of your life. I think music is powerful in many ways. It can be a soul to one person. It could be something that uplifts you when you're times when you're sad or depressed. It could be something where it just energizes you. It could be also a teacher. I think with a lot of the young generations these days, I think exposing them to music early on is a key thing to keep good music going, but it also opens up their minds to a lot of other things too. And that's where I think those are the just the small examples that music can bring. So I think keep music as part of your life.
Yeah. That is awesome. Well said. Love that.
Yeah, kind of adding to what John is saying there. Yeah, music has got to be your number one thing that you put first in your art as a DJ. The other thing I would say is that if you're doing this art for the money or for the notoriety or for the girls, you're doing it all for the wrong reasons. If you're doing it because you love the music, because you want to master the art, because you want to put some really creative art or creative mixes together, or you want to express yourself creatively, or you want to perform because you love the performance aspect of it, then that's what you're doing it for. You're doing it all because you ultimately love it. And as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, you'll be able to do it for a long time. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you'll be in and out real quick.
Amen to that.
Great job. Great job,
Thank you.
gentlemen. Oh my gosh, this was good. This was good,
Well,
good,
thank you
good.
for having us.
I like it. Oh, thank you for joining us. Oh my Lanta. If you'd like to follow our awesome DJs on social media, you can follow Isaiah Dacio, aka DJ Icy Ice, at DJ Icy Ice, and John Palma, aka DJ WtFun, at DJ DBLPLAY on Instagram. And don't forget to tune in to Snapback Live on Instagram and Twitch to hear DJ Icy Ice, WtFun, and their friends rocking the turntables live by following them on Instagram and Twitch at snapback_live.
And once again, we want to thank you for supporting the first season of WtFun podcast. Your support and feedback has helped with our success this season, and we are looking forward to season 2. So please continue to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at wikiki.productions for the latest news and updates on our upcoming season.
So we're going to take a little quick hiatus, but we're going to be back with season 2 starting on November 6th. And we are so excited. We're going to continue to have all of these amazing industry professionals on our podcast to continue to share their stories and inspire, like we've been doing for the past few months. But in the meantime, if you haven't caught all of our episodes, they are still up and available on all of our podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, wherever you stream, we are there ready to entertain you. And if you are still looking for even more theater podcasts, there's a great one called the Theater Art Life Podcast, which is amazing. We love that podcast so much, and they love and support us here over at WtFun. So please make sure to check them out. They are also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Okay, so Renee, sing us out.
WtFun, WtFun, WtFun podcast. 3 girls in a cubicle.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
See you soon.